Welcome to the McKee Roundtable. This is what we are going to do on Sunday. We are going to have these meetings where we talk about psychological operations that we have put into play, the ones that we might be conducting in the future, and those we are identifying around us that we didn't know were being run. The biggest impediment to identifying when you are being manipulated is the lack of acknowledgement of your own fallacy. Every human being has a predilection for falling into an emotional state when information is introduced either that they don't agree with or that they have been trained to believe the opposite. We've shown this in the most recent psychological operation that we've run on YouTube. Now, the level to which this was effective surprised even me. I knew there would be a visceral reaction to this, but I had no idea the level of religious fervor that had come about as a result of the quote-unquote prepping survivalist community. This was only put up on the 11th. Today is the 15th. That's only 4 to 5 days. There have been 105,000 views, 1,300 likes, 800 dislikes, and 1,400 comments, not including the ones that I've had to, well, delete, basically, because they were so filthy and so horrible. If you read the transcript by itself, and you can go over here to any video, click the 3 dots, and it'll say open transcript, and you can read, the actual audio transcript, or not the audio, the syntax of what's being said in the video, and you match this up with the visuals, by themselves, they wouldn't necessarily make you upset, but I think what happened here is that there was an aspect to Shit Hits the Fan that a lot of people were angry about not having thought about themselves. Even though the information wasn't new, it was put together in a way that made them think, based on the visuals that they were seeing, that they were in danger, directly in danger at the moment, and they kicked over into their emotional brains. And the only way they had to deal with that information was literally type paragraph after paragraph of filthy attacks. If it was simply, if I just put out a video talking about things that were absolutely absurd and insane, most people would just type LOL, man, you're crazy, and walk away. But not in this case. I have seen cognitive dissonance before, but not at this level. I really haven't. In this large of a group of people, it'll show you clearly that they have attached an emotional price to things, to belief systems in their life. Now, if you want to see the exact opposite of that, you can watch the current leader of the United States. I'm going to make an allegation here that I think might upset a lot of people, and this isn't me tearing the guy down. A lot of people know that I don't like the guy, but we're not talking about that here. I think he has alexithymia. What this is, it's a state that people don't have the ability to understand emotions or use words to describe them. And if you read through here, this is slideplayer.com. Just look up alexithymia, and you'll be able to find this and what it means. This is this guy in a nutshell. He's literally the physical opposite of the people that support him, because they're overly emotional. When you get too deeply involved supporting anybody, whether it was this guy or the woman that ran against him or the last president or even Bernie supporters, there becomes a time when things stop being intellectual exercises and start becoming emotional attachments. They talk about what's happening around them or about the somatic complaints rather than the inward emotional experience. Horror question, how do you feel? Impaired imagination. Concrete, realistic, logical thinking, often to the exclusion of emotional responses to problems. Preoccupation with facts and the minute details of external events, excessive doubt, negativity, unable to understand metaphors, monotonous speech, no, the favorite default response, avoidance of self-disclosure, sleep, emotional outbursts, inappropriate expressions of emotion. You know, there's been this allegation that the current leader is a stable genius. I'm wondering, the one person in the media, not the media, but the entertainment, Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, talks about that he has this alexithymia. It's literally the opposite of what you would, to run a psyop on someone like that would literally be impossible. It really would be. Because when people start creating these bases of their life, the physiological, and then the safety, and then this is your SHTF group right here, level 3, okay? They start building, the reason this is created this way is because each of these stacks on top of the other. Take away any one of these and all this other stuff falls apart. And when you take away this, in the psychological operation, I literally pulled out this, and all this fell apart. The idea that this could be taken away, the idea that this could be taken away by something someone hadn't thought of. And to say that in a YouTube scenario here, where literally you can make a video just about anything, ever, when you're talking about shit hits the fan. I mean, they've talked about this stuff for decades now to the point of ridiculousness. You would think there would be nothing you could put on YouTube that would evoke this kind of a response. And I was stunned just by showing that living in California, Texas, Florida, or up east around New York would be a good idea, that perhaps living in some of these more outlier states would be less of a good idea, and being out here in the middle might put you at risk. It was an amazing, amazing thing to see. And I'm going to still be pulling stuff away from it, from the comments and from the reaction, and we're going to use that. We're going to use all of that information to conduct future psychological operations. The amount of giveaway by these people has been huge, and they don't even realize they're doing it. The last thing that I'll cover in today's video was one of the big takeaways was that there is this idea of there being a plan and people being in control. This was key. Almost all of the responses I got had something to do with the prisoners are going to be executed. There's this big deep state plan to gas all of the prisoners or have the guards go stalk from cell to cell and shoot them. But the overriding idea was that there was a plan. Now, I know this is going to blow your mind, but I need you to stay with me on this. The idea of even people that they don't like being in control is more palatable to them, this group of people, than there being total anarchy. Because for them, this safety mechanism is that there's a plan. The Illuminati, the Rothschilds, the deep state, or whatever, always has to be things they can't explain, things they don't understand, all have to be the result of someone somewhere being in control and understanding, even if it's aliens. But the idea that it could all be haphazard and that the people in charge could be just as fallible as they are, and mistakes could be made, and that there isn't some huge conspiracy, that's untenable emotionally and mentally for these people. And that's why when they see something like this, a visual of something like this creates such an emotional response. And like I said, once you get people in an emotional state where they're out of their real analytical minds, they're like mush. They're like mush, and you can do anything you want with them at that point. And that's the basis of psychological operations: cognitive dissonance. Introduce new information in a way that they might protest it and they might disagree with it, but they will still take it, consider it, chew on it, and let it manipulate them into an emotional state. So I'm not going to sit here and read my own words for you, but if you really want to understand this, read through here the actual transcript of this video, and then look at the images that I used in correlation, and you will see why. Some of it I didn't even realize I was doing when I did it. I went back and I'm like, wow, I didn't even mean to do that, and it absolutely came through. But the idea was to put images in front of people that made them scratch their head while saying things that they hadn't heard before. You see, the idea of prisoners getting out of prison and running as far as they can to the hills, that's not unreasonable. But when you apply it to a shit-hits-the-fan scenario, completely falls apart for people. Anyway, we will leave it there. A lot of information to go through still, and I'm sure I'll have a lot more for you guys. Tomorrow is McKee Masters Monday, and of course we are going to do Top Secret Tuesdays and Need to Know Wednesdays. Thursday and Friday I will be doing research of my own, and then of course Saturdays will again begin with the Secret Squirrel Saturday $5 level. So thank you so much, very much appreciate your guys' support here, and we will see you next time. Thank you.